England and Wales who've died from the bacterial infection known as Strep A has risen to 6. Normally, Group A streptococcal infections, to give them their full name, are mild, but in very rare cases they can become life-threatening. It's thought that 5 of the children who died had scarlet fever, which then developed into a much more serious condition. Dr. Bharat Pankhania is Senior Clinical Lecturer at the University of Exeter Medical School. Welcome to the programme. Doctor, how worried should parents be?
I think it's more a case of not being worried, but being aware. So here is an opportunity to share with our listeners what to look out for, because if you have a series of these signs and symptoms, then you should seek medical help as soon as possible. So what I would say is, if you have tonsils that are aching and very painful, red, raw throat with exudates on your tonsils, tender cervical nodes in your neck, and you have a fever greater than 38 degrees, those 3 things are indicative that you may have a strep throat, for which we've got very good antibiotics of the penicillin variety, which we can use. To distinguish between this bacterial and viral infection, which is also very common at this time of the year, is, interestingly, you do not have a cough, you do not have a red eyes, and you don't have a runny nose. So that would also help you distinguish, is it viral or is this a bacterial infection?
Why do some cases, though, become so serious?
I wish we knew. We don't really know, but what we do know is that there are, shall we say, varieties, strains of Group A Streptococcus, and some of these strains are more invasive than others. So when I was working at Public Health England, now renamed UK Health Security Agency, we used to follow up every case of invasive Group A Streptococcus. We still do. And what we are interested in is getting those samples and studying them genetically to see if there is a strain that is circulating more commonly, which is also more invasive.
Is scarlet fever, a version of Strep A, is that more likely to become more serious, if you like?
So scarlet fever, yes, is one manifestation of a Group A streptococcal infection, as is what we sometimes refer to in small children as impetigo, which is a skin infection. And the same bug is also involved in what we often refer to as cellulitis. So all of these are a family of infections caused by the Group A strep. Now, your question was, is scarlet fever likely to run into invasive Group A disease? Yes and no is the answer. We just don't know in who it becomes more of an invasive disease. But what we need to be aware of is, if you are in the high-risk group, for example, you're on steroids, you have got other underlying health conditions, you've got your older age group, you've got diabetes, then you don't want to sit on your scarlet fever. You want that treated as quickly as possible, because it may go on to become invasive disease.
Can I just ask you one final question, and very briefly if you can? Why is there more Strep A around at the moment?
Well, it's that season of the year when we have coughs and colds, influenza is circulating, and it's the same for these indoor spaces where infections spread from person to person.
Right, but it's not more than previous years, is it?
Well, whilst we've had more deaths this year compared to last year, it isn't a case of these bacteria have become more virulent.
Right, okay, understood. Dr. Pankhania, thank you very much indeed. That was Bharat Pankhania, Senior Clinical Lecturer at the Medical School of Exeter University.